So listen, I'm not here to say that I'm diagnosed with autism, because I'm not, but at a very young age, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, for I could not read, and also ADHD. I grew up in an education system where I always had a teacher aide associate with me. And I know what you're thinking, Amanda, what does this have to do with dating? What are you talking about? Like, this is so random, so weird. But actually, for those of you that are born technically neurodivergent, or for those of you that have an intelligent mind, for those of you that are sensitive, for those of you that feel different than every other normie within society, and therefore kind of grew up exiled, like peanut-free allergy table type of mentality, I can relate to you. And this does play out in dating, especially for those of us that grew up with childhoods where we never felt safe. So we actually become super hyper vigilant when it comes to socially interacting with other people. We date from an anxious place and we just can't help it. When you first start to date, right? I talked a lot about my isolation in college and in high school, but I didn't talk about the part where you begin to heal enough that you let yourself go outside. You let yourself leave your social isolation tower. You let yourself experience life. You think that being inside and everything being over, you think that that's difficult. And while it is, the next part, the upcoming healing part, in my opinion, is even more difficult, because you not only have to let yourself be seen and be heard, you have to get used to sitting in that and being comfortable in that without running away from that, without running away from the fact that you are unique and you are a different individual. Just to give you guys some of my own personal quirks that I'm referring to here on this channel. For instance, whenever I get excited, ever since I was a young kid, and this is just to kind of help guide you guys into who I am as a person and into my mind and why I had such a hard time dating, and just like my overall, oh, is that a spectrum? There I am, right on it. Like that's me. I would get excited like as a kid and even as an adult, where I do this thing and I call it jazz hands, but it's when I get too excited. Do you guys have like a tick where you get too excited and you go like that? Anyways, so yeah, that's me, just like for instance. Yeah, so when I first started letting myself be seen and be heard and exist in reality outside of my bedroom and outside of my eating disorder and outside of my substance use and trying to escape my pain, when I finally let myself be seen, I literally hit the worst wall one can encounter, and I call this the cringe. And no, I'm not talking about the ick, which is like a stupid term that I don't even like that much. I had quite literally what one can refer as the ick or cringe. I had that for myself, meaning when I first began to socially interact with people again and let myself be seen in the world, I would think back to how I was in that social interaction, and I would physically and emotionally cringe. And I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I'm not cringing at the other people that was within that social interaction. I'm cringing at myself. Like, I'll think back to myself from this like third point of view, like I'm almost watching myself, and I will literally cringe. And whenever I feel like the more vulnerable I'm being, or the more likelihood that whatever I'm doing is going to lead to another rejection, I will cringe even more. Being myself takes so much confidence and it takes so much work, because up until the point of just letting myself be myself, I will literally cringe at the thought that I exist. I don't know if this is a neurodivergent thing, okay? I'm not trying to project anything onto you guys here, and you guys might not be able to relate to this, but do you guys ever just like suffer at the thought of like the fact that you exist and have to be seen by other people? Because this is something that I've been struggling with for quite a long time. And yes, this only gets deeper and worse as you start dating, especially for those of us that are just so used to life being horrible and life being in fight and flight mode, you're not like expecting to feel safe in a connection again. So when that safety does happen, it's like I have so much anxiety, I'm hyper vigilant, like I can't let myself just be loved. It's almost like something that doesn't exist. So your brain is like becoming rewired just to not let yourself be seen, be heard, and feel loved in this lifetime. And yes, that is due to trauma. And yes, that is due to being different than other people, to being more sensitive. Stupid as this sounds though, your sensitivity, it's a gift. And that's what you can't take for granted. If you hate being vulnerable, and if you cringe at yourself like how I do, and if you have weird sensory quirks, or even like physical disabilities within your body, like there are times where, you know, my body is strong in a lot of ways. Like I survived an eating disorder and loneliness and pain and this, that, and the third. But like as an outcome of that, the body keeps the score mentality. There are some days where I'm just physically weak and physically anxious. And that almost makes me even more insecure, because it's like, not only am I different, but now I just feel like I have these boundaries that other people don't have. Another example could be, for instance, I have a sensory thing when it comes to wearing jewelry. I don't know if you guys noticed, but for the most part, I don't really have that many videos of me wearing jewelry. And that's because the sensation of jewelry makes me cringe, which is just another weird, quirky thing that you gotta love. But I mean, like, those things aren't that bad. The main part is just allowing yourself to live and not judging yourself so harshly when you reflect back at those social interactions, because I myself have cringed so hard at myself just for being alive for such a long time that I don't know how to place this other than a neurodivergent thing. So if you guys can relate to what it is I'm saying, if it feels like socially interacting with people is just 50 billion times more draining than any normie, quote unquote, normie friend that you could ever meet, comment below, because I feel you on that, and you're not experiencing the level of cringe and the inability to be vulnerable. You're not out here experiencing that alone. It takes a lot for us to embrace our quirks, and if you are like this neurodivergent person, it's likely that when you finally get into alignment with yourself, you're gonna attract another person that can mirror you in that way, but in a healthy way. So it's all about just letting yourself be seen. But please comment down below if you also struggle at just letting yourself exist. If it's like actually kind of a nightmare for you, you're not alone. I get that. And a lot of that is due to the body keeping the score in all these unique ways that we can't even fully understand. Your nervous system is just protecting itself the best way that it can, and it's okay to be different, but you're gonna have to fight harder in this time to love yourself, because you're not like everyone else. Think about your own self as like your own inner child. Like, this kid is different than the other kids on the playground. How do we give this kid extra validation that this kid needs, because this kid is hypersensitive to dating, and we can't just gaslight this kid for not being like everyone else. And this has been my biggest struggle the most. I'm extremely anxious. Like, give me a brown paper bag and like maybe I'll be fine for like 10 minutes, but I'm still anxious as hell. So, you know, anyways, I will see you guys in a future YouTube video. I'm actually going live today. Yay! No joke, not kidding, going live. So I will see you guys tonight. Bye, y'all.